But hopefully I get off by 8 o'clock or at least by 8:30 so I can see more, the last half of the show. Also on Raw tonight, besides them possibly mentioning China, is Gallows, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, the Bullet Club. I don't think they're calling them the Bullet Club on WWE yet. They just may be calling them Anderson and Gallows. Not Anderson, but yeah, that's his name, Anderson. Anderson and Gallows are supposed to fight the Usos tonight on Raw. Supposed to have the in-ring debut of the Bullet Club, Anderson and Gallows. Even though they're not calling them the Bullet Club, that's who they are really. They're gonna face the Usos. That should be pretty interesting. And also going on from segueing from that is also tonight. There's a very high possibility or a very big rumor that Finn Balor could be making his debut on Raw tonight on the main roster from NXT because I think it was, what day was it? Thursday or Friday? I forget what day. It might have even been Saturday, but Samoa Joe, it might have been Saturday when this happened. Samoa Joe won the NXT title from Finn Balor, and at a house show, non-televised show. But then I read yesterday it was recorded for television, so you're probably gonna see highlights on WWE Network, or they might show the entire match on NXT. But Samoa Joe defeated Finn Balor for the NXT Heavyweight title. So Samoa Joe is the NXT champion. So there's the rumor now is that Finn Balor is going to pop up on Raw tonight. Will that happen? I don't know. At the time, I tend to think that it's not going to happen. I don't see him being on Raw tonight. They might mention him losing the title, or they might even show, like I said, they might even show footage from that match because it was recorded by WWE cameras. But I just don't feel like Finn Balor is going to show up tonight. I don't. I think it's too much. It would just be too. It would make too much sense if that makes any sense for him to show up tonight. I think WWE is going to have him, and I heard him and Nakamura are going to feud for the NXT title. So I expect he'll have a rematch with Samoa Joe, and going into the summer, it's going to be Finn Balor against Nakamura. They need to have Finn Balor and Nakamura fighting NXT. I think that would be a very important when they have the NXT takeover in Brooklyn this summer. I think it's right before SummerSlam. I mean, whenever they have that, that'll be a big match on the show. So, or maybe Samoa Joe might be in that. Could be a three-way now. That would be awesome. In any case, I just don't see them bringing Finn Balor up. Maybe after SummerSlam, or maybe right before SummerSlam. It's very possible. But I don't think he's going to show up tonight. That's just my prediction. That's just my thoughts. I could be wrong. I predict stuff wrong all the time on, as you know. If you listen to the podcast, my WrestleMania predictions were all wrong. So the only thing I predicted right at WrestleMania was The Undertaker winning and Roman Reigns winning. Those are the only two things I predicted right. I think I got every other match wrong. So there you go. That shows you how much I know about wrestling. And I've been watching wrestling for like 20-something years now. 25, almost 30 years. So I got almost all of WrestleMania wrong. So I could be wrong about this Finn Balor thing. But I just don't think he's coming up tonight. I really don't. And that's it. And in other news, in the world of wrestling, and then I'm going to get into why is Jonathan Mays so petty, because that's what today's episode is supposed to be about. In other news, TNA might be going out of business any day now. Any day now. I mean, like, as soon as this week, it could be out of business. Because things in TNAville are just not good at all. They lost their home offices. Their offices are basically in the back of a warehouse right now. What else? They're losing all their damn talent. Bobby Roode and Eric Young are all. But Bobby Young is pretty much signed to team NXT. Bobby Young. Bobby Roode is pretty much signed to NXT, and Eric Young is supposed to come into WWE any day now. Also, Velvet Sky, they just taped her last match with the company, I think last night or the night before last. So she's done with TNA. She's probably coming to WWE. People are leaving left and right, and I know I've said this lots of times in the past, lots of times over the years even. But I think TNA is going to be over soon. So anybody that listens to this show that's a hardcore TNA wrestling fan, I should just suggest you prepare yourself for the worst. Because that might be the next big death. It won't be a person. It'll be the death of this company. So I just don't see how, even if somebody else, I think the Harris twins or the two dudes that used to be the Eli brothers, the two twins, they used to be wrestlers in WWE and WCW. They're trying to buy TNA from Dixie Carter, but I don't see what they're going to be able to do with it. Do the Harris twins have money? I don't know. I don't see how, supposedly they're good investors or something, but I don't know. I doubt they can do anything with it. Okay, what else happened last week? And then I'm going to get into the nitty gritty of my episode here. And that's pretty much it. Conor McGregor retired. Conor McGregor, UFC fighter Conor McGregor, he retired. And rumors are that he's WWE bound, or a lot of people want to see him in WWE. I don't know if WWE is interested in having him, or if they're even reaching out for him to come to WWE. But that would be pretty interesting. That would be nice for him to fight, maybe like Kevin Owens or somebody at SummerSlam. That'd be a big SummerSlam match if they could get him to come in and do a one-shot match, or come in, full time. Who knows, like, WWE is growing, they already got a pretty full roster already, but, you bring some UFC fans to WWE if you book Conor McGregor in a match. So that's kind of interesting. But, yeah, that's all the news, or that concludes the news edition of this episode. That almost took up half the episode, just talking about the deaths and talking about everything that transpired last week. But, yeah, today's episode entitled, Just How Petty is Jonathan Mays? And that's a very good question. I want to take some time and answer that question right now, because I want to tell you just how petty I am, because I consider myself to be a petty individual. Now, when I say I'm petty, a lot of times I think there's a negative connotation when you say you're petty. But being petty is not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes it's good to be petty. I really believe that. I think it's healthy to have some pettiness. I think everybody should be a little petty. And what that means is you shouldn't put up with a lot of people's shit. I know there are some of you like me that probably get shit every day. When I say you get shit every day or get shitted on every day, what I mean by that is maybe people try to antagonize you for no reason, or they try to irritate you or aggravate you or just poke you for no. Let's say you're just a nice person, like I am, like me. Let's say you're just like me. You're a nice person. You don't bother anybody. You go to work. You're not a dramatic person. You don't instigate. Well, okay, maybe I do instigate a little bit. I instigate a lot. But I don't instigate all the time. I don't never just come into a place or step into a room or whatever full of people and just try to cause trouble. I think I instigate sometimes just because it's funny. I never really try to cause anything serious or try to cause problems between anyone, any serious problem. It's always just out of fun, to instigate sometimes. But be that as it may, let's say you don't instigate at all. Let's say you don't, not even for fun, and you're just a nice, normal person who just likes to work and come on and do whatever it is that you do. But you always have these other people at work or at your school if you go to school or at your home, even your family, that they just try to just antagonize you and try to just come at you and try to, instigate with you or try to start shit with you and you don't even bother them. Let's say you're in that situation. Do you know what I recommend or do you know what I would prescribe? Let Dr. Johnny prescribe something for that if you have to deal with a lot of bullshit and you're just a good person. I prescribe being petty. I think it's necessary to be petty. Everybody should be petty. If you're petty towards these people that are mean to you, you'll end up feeling a whole lot better. You will sleep better than you have in years if you become petty. And I come from a long line of petty people. I learned how to be petty very honestly. I get it from my mama. I don't know if you heard my mama on the intro at the very beginning of this podcast. I kind of spliced her in there. I tried to talk to her and have her interview with her, but she couldn't stay on the phone long, so I'm going to have a longer conversation with my mom, which I'll post in a future episode of Johnny Knows Best. That's coming very, very soon, I promise you. Just got to keep listening, keep watching out, and you'll hear Mabel Mays on an episode of Johnny Knows Best. But I learned how to be petty from her, very, very honestly, and she always taught me not to take anything from anybody. A lot of mothers were teaching their children to turn the other cheek, be nice to people, overlook people when they're trying to be mean to you. Not Mabel Mays. She always taught me, do unto others as they do unto you. If someone treats you like shit, you treat them like shit. Now, this, sorry, I had to rub my nose on that one. But this theory or way of life, as I call being petty a way of life. Sometimes, you just have to let people know they can't mess with you sometimes. And I'm not saying to intentionally set out to try to cause problems. I never try to cause problems or never try to cause drama or trouble. But I don't never back away from it. A lot of my listeners or people that are listening to the show have worked with me or know me personally. And if you know me personally, you know how I am. I never back down from confrontation. When somebody tries to confront me, I don't care if you're my supervisor. I don't care if you're my boss. I don't care if you're a family member. And it really makes me feel bad because the one time I did back down from confrontation a few months ago when, okay, I'm going to go ahead and tell this story since I'm bringing it up. I might as well tell the whole story. A certain family member of mine, I'm going to leave his name out, even though he's not on my friends list, and probably will never hear this podcast, but a certain person that's in my family that married into the family. Married, it's not a blood relative, but he's married to a blood relative. He came up to my job one day, my present job, before Brady's, and was just tripping, just going off on me, yelling at me about not coming to Thanksgiving dinner, not coming to Christmas dinner, and not, taking care of my mom. And y'all know, people that know me personally, my mom is disabled in the nursing home, and I take very good care of my mom. But I also have my own health issues. And I also go through my own problems, as some of you may know. Some of you may not know, but if you don't know, now you know. But sometimes because of